Hello and welcome. Joining me right now for this very special interaction is Prakash Javadekar, Union Minister for Environment and Forests, and the man who will lead India's charge at the upcoming Paris Climate Meet. Thank you very much, Javadekar ji, for joining us today. Let me begin by asking you, the point that the United States made, Javadekar ji, about India being a challenge in the climate negotiations. Is that really so? Are we a challenge?
No, we are not challenge, we are facilitator. But John Kerry's comment is unfair and untrue. And this shows that all is not well with, and they must have some design. They should not have said this. I strongly condemn this because this is unheard of. Without any cause, if somebody creates a ruckus and if somebody provokes, it is bad.
Mr. Minister, therefore tell us, what is the stance going to be? What is the stance that you will present on behalf of the nation at this summit?
On behalf of 1.25 billion people of India, we are saying that Paris should produce equitable and just climate agreement, because what India has done has been appreciated world over through its INDCs and the NGO alliance, prominent NGOs which otherwise oppose our government or program, but they have come out to say in a report that India has taken up more than its fair share, 4 times more than its fair share, and America and European countries have taken much less than their fair share. So unless everybody takes up commitments according to their fair share, because there is a historical responsibility, and if they don't count, they have already occupied the development space. So to keep temperature below 2 degrees, we have only 3,000 gigatons of carbon space available, out of which 2,000 is already occupied by developed world. Now there is only 1,000 left for next 85 years. How we will do it? We will walk it, but we must get the space. So I said, like JP said, that Janta aati hai ki simhasan karo. I said that developed world must vacate the carbon space to provide development space for developing world. And I think if technology and financial commitments, which developed world has said umpteen times, if they walk the talk, the Paris will be through.
Okay, if they walk the talk, Paris will be through. For our viewers, I want to show them the front page of a presentation by the Ministry of Environment and Forests about India's intended nationally determined contribution. And there's a very interesting quote from Mahatma Gandhi: "The world has enough for everyone's need, but not enough for everyone's greed." And that's the point that Minister Javadekar is making before us. Let me ask you the next question for our viewers across the globe who are tuning in and watching India's stance very carefully. One of the points that has been said is that the contributor base must be enlarged, and the recipient base for climate finance to be shrunk. You have said that India will contest this. Please explain this to our viewers, Javadekar ji.
See, this is saying that it should be widened is denying the very existence of historical responsibility principle. See, world is helping each other in a bilateral way. India helps Bhutan, Nepal, Sri Lanka, Myanmar, Bangladesh, and many other neighboring countries, Afghanistan. So we are helping, but that's our bilateral help. But that is not part of the Green Climate Fund of $100 billion, because $100 billion has come out of historical responsibility. Today we are experiencing 0.8 degree temperature rise, and that is affecting our monsoons, that is affecting our drought and flood cycles, that is affecting our glaciers, that is affecting our storms and hurricanes. And if that is what we are experiencing, who is responsible for that? The cumulative emission of 150 years, which is causing this temperature rise, 80% is by developed world, industrialized nations. 10% is China and 3% is India. So India is not responsible for the problem, but we want to be part of solution. And therefore, we are coming with the positive proposals. But if somebody takes it lightly and somebody says that now donor base has to be widened, it's not. Even China has promised $3 billion, not for $100 billion climate fund. They have promised it for South-South cooperation. That's a bilateral cooperation. The $100 billion has to come from developed world as a part of historical responsibility for the present emissions.
Since you talk about present emissions, there is another point in the stance, and this is to do with the lack of commitment of developed countries as regards finance and technology. You expanded on the finance point, and in the past you have spoken about the fact that India perhaps needs $2.5 trillion, Javadekar ji, with regard to climate finance. Will you continue to pursue that stance at the Paris meet?
Yeah, but we are raising our own resources at a major point. When we are fighting for finance, we are not fighting for finance for India. We are fighting for the cause. We are fighting for a developing bloc. We are fighting for least developed countries and small island developed countries. Our real fight is technology support, because we believe that technology is the answer for mitigating the climate challenge. And when technologies are available, why some countries are sitting on it just for profits, and why some countries are making restrictive practices? It should be open, it should be made available and accessible at an affordable cost, and solutions can be found. Extraordinary situation requires extraordinary thinking abilities. And to fight HIV/AIDS, we had taken out solutions to provide cheap drugs. Why can't we provide cheap technologies with same zeal and with same innovation?
Given the fact that the current leadership of the United States is now in the very last leg of its tenure, and you will have an election in the United States, Mr. Javadekar, what are your expectations with regard to the ability to strike a deal and a bargain at Paris? Is there a way out that is possible, or will it be yet another conference where the developed world will refuse to change its stance?
No, but if they refuse to change, the French president, host president Hollande, is very genuine leader. He has said that if developed world doesn't walk the talk, Paris success is not certain, Paris can fail. This is not Prakash Javadekar saying, this is not India saying, this is French President Hollande saying. So this is very important. I think that's a warning for all, and he's cautioning all the developed world. I hope that ultimately collective wisdom will prevail. See, we have made a lot of progress. From Kyoto, now 170 countries have submitted their INDCs. What more realization of challenge you want? People have shown their keenness. People have shown their willingness. But now they must be equipped with finance and technology support.
Okay, Mr. Javadekar, is an agreement therefore possible during this meet that starts in a few days from now?
I think I'm always eternal optimist. So I believe that there will be solution. I hope that they will not stretch it beyond 11th and will complete in time, because 140 leaders, heads of countries, are coming there on the very first day of 30th. So when they will gather there, they will give that political push. We should work, and where developed world needs to commit, because as you were asking of USA, I don't want to comment on their internal politics, but the other party waiting in the wings doesn't believe in climate change. So what can we do? We have a tremendous national consensus on our stand. I have met Communist, Congress, Socialist, JDU, and many other parties. I am meeting all parties in next 3 days. So we have a consensus. Even today, Jairam Ramesh and I had breakfast meeting, and we talked good sense. I have discussing with think tanks, I am discussing with experts, and we are raising a consensus. NGOs are with us, and we are all working together and talking together.
Okay, that's a very important news point that you make, that as far as India is concerned, there is bipartisan support across parties as far as our climate stance is concerned, unlike the United States, which is facing election in the future. If I may ask you, Mr. Javadekar, before I let you go, I know you have a very busy evening ahead of you. The consensus that you are achieving on climate change with other parties in India domestically, that consensus doesn't seem to be existing on one of the domestic priorities, and that is GST, sir. The winter session is about to start. What are your expectations as far as the winter session is concerned?
Like Paris, I also hope here that collective wisdom will prevail. GST is not a BJP Congress issue. It's an issue of the nation. It's important for GDP. It's important for our overall improvement of investment. And therefore, all will support, and this bill will be passed, which is already passed in Parliament in Lok Sabha, but which needs to get the Rajya Sabha nod, and I think that it will happen in this session.
So what is your final message to the Congress, really?
No, my message is to everybody that, see, we have a responsibility. The people of this country have given a massive mandate to Narendra Modi and BJP to govern. We want to govern, and we are governing. But GST is one issue where support of everybody is required in Rajya Sabha, because it's a constitution amendment. And I hope that this will happen.
Prakash Javadekar, thank you so much for sparing time with us days before you leave Paris to lead India's charge at the climate conference. That was Prakash Javadekar talking exclusively with us and making a couple of very important points, talking about the stance that India will pursue at the Paris climate conference. And clearly, India is not going to back down. The remarks by the US Secretary of State are almost provocative. And if you read through the lines of the position papers that are going to be presented by India, accord at Paris will depend more on softening of position by the developed world rather than developing countries like India. Thank you very much. If you've been with us with this breaking news special, we'll be back on the other side of the break. Don't go away.